I like to always say, like, I'd rather have 100 followers that are like actively promoting my business or invested in my business than like 1,000 that like don't care. So views, like I like to tell people, think of views as in, like, let's say you get 30 views and you're like, 30 is so horrible, I can't believe it. I always would push back and say, if you stood in front of 30 people in a room and told them that message, would you think that would be beneficial to you? And 100% yes.
The opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and not necessarily those of WKTV Community Media.
Hello, West Michigan. This is GRTV Media Business TV. My name is Pamela Keim, your host. The spirit of the show is to introduce West Michigan to all the businesses, nonprofits, individuals that can help us thrive in our lives. And today's guest is going to help most of you small businesses out there, or even larger, that are dealing with social media. Everybody is thinking it's a rabbit hole. How much should I post? What should I post? What videos? I sound stupid on video. That's what I hear a lot of people saying. I don't even know what to post. What if my post only get a few, maybe like 100 views? Is that good? How much should I post? Should I be like, should I hire it out? Should it, all of us have all of these questions when it comes to social media. Well, this person's here to tell us that we should really love social media. We should really be excited about putting her out. It is the way to market, but there's ways to do it, and there's some do's and don'ts, and maybe some of us need to just change it up. And she's going to be here to answer all those questions, because let me tell you, I deal with social media all the time, and I think it's a rabbit hole, and sometimes I get overwhelmed by it. I don't know how much to deal with it, or if I'm dealing with it enough, or what do I do today to promote my company? So I want to introduce Mary Gunther to the show today. She is the owner of a Social G company, and she started it because it comes natural to her. That's what she kind of gets. What she says, I just was natural since I was young on social media, and that wasn't even when I was around. But I want to welcome Mary Gunther to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you
Well,
today.
that's what I got out of some of the interviews I listened to you about you. Well, it's kind of a natural, and that your grandmother kind of taught you a little bit about entrepreneur.
That's right.
But social media is, to me, I know it's very important. I know but you can just, there's no end to it. It's not that you wake up at the end of the day and you get all your social media platforms, you go, whew, I'm good. I'm the person that goes out, I wonder if I should have posted more.
Yeah.
Should I have posted? And then you check. And why did this get? I mean, am I alone here?
You are not alone. And I often joke to people about my business, and I say, I have a whole business built on the fact that people hate social media. It's really hard, and especially for business owners that didn't necessarily go into business because they thought they'd have to be doing as much content or marketing themselves. So, they have a passion for whatever their business is, and they're sitting there thinking, oh man, now I gotta be the content creator, like I gotta be like front and facing my audience all the time, and it's really overwhelming for people. So I like to help people feel less overwhelmed with their social media presence. And we do that in a variety of ways, and just to help people get more control and confidence, and just really get the social media monster off your back, because like you said, it never ends. Consistency is key.
So talk about a little bit why you named your company the way it is, and
Sure.
and what really you're teaching people that it's not what you think it is with social media, and you just have to relax and schedule.
Okay, so if we have, first and foremost, I 100% believe that social media for businesses, it's a business tool. I think we're kind of past the point that people are debating that. Like, it's for sure valuable to your business. Now, can you have a successful business without a strong social media presence? Of course you can. I just believe it's an opportunity to build a deeper relationship with your audience, with potential customers, current customers. And I think there's a way to do it that you can build that relationship online just as much as you can build a relationship, in person, if done right. So I started my company just because so many people did struggle with it. Obviously, my last name is Gunther, so as I was coming up with the name, I was thinking, G, social G.
Oh, I get it now. I didn't get that one.
And also, I'm a pretty social person as well. So I kind of like say, let's put the social back in social media. And, really it's about, getting out there as you're with your business, commenting on other pages, being a participant in the social media landscape. Little things like that can go a long way, and to raise awareness of your business just through little things like that. The issue and the challenge that most business owners have is just they don't have the time to do all that. They don't have to dedicate towards that. So yeah, I wanted to create a company that in my mind kind of did social media the right way, which was really being authentic and genuine to the business. So using a variety of video, traditional post stories to represent the business and build that relationship, but in a deeper way. Not, anyone can make a social media post.
Right.
What's going to be a social media post that's going to make someone stop? And that's the challenge, and that's the goal for us, is to stop the scroll.
Well, you want to stop the scroll,
Yes.
and you'd be amazed. And you were talking that social media is here to stay. I will tell you, most of the things I buy is on social media. It's a post. It's not going, and I don't mean to, I'm not saying the stores in my community, but it is. I'm going through and, you know what? Oh my gosh, that looks really interesting. Or that's, once you hit one product that tweaks your interest, you're going to get multiple. In some aspects, I'm very grateful because I would never have found these products. And the price, some of them, I'm like, wow, I've been looking for this and I didn't even realize I could. And I don't know if other people feel the same way. I'm kind of glad when they send me stuff, jeans I'm looking for and products I'm looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And what's funny is, everyone talks about the algorithm. And it's like, you always got to figure out the algorithm. And in my mind, just simplifying it, and if you're creating content that people want to consume because it's educational, it's, it's funny, it's entertaining, it's relatable, the algorithm doesn't matter, because people are going to respond to that content and you're going to get the results you want, which is, views, engagements, all the things to move the dial for your business. So the algorithm is always, this hot word that everyone likes to talk about. Oh, I hate the algorithm. Now I have to do this post to be seen. And my whole thing is just do good content. I mean, it's easier said than done.
Correct.
I also tell people, and they always kind of chuckle, if you don't like what you're seeing in your feed, the algorithm is a reflection of what you're consuming. So if you get a lot of people are like, oh, social media is such a negative space and there's so much stuff, I always say, stop, cross those pages out, because the algorithm's giving you what you're interested in.
Okay, so I'm a company, small business, and I call you in and say, and I have reached out to you, because if everybody has heard me, but Toastmasters International, which help you build public speaking leadership. I am the VP of Public Relations Manager for most of the state, and I'm calling up Mary and saying, I've got to do a really good job. I have just got to, and we want to grow the mission.
Yeah.
And so you're going to what? You're going to learn about Toastmasters, or you're going to come to a meeting? How does that work that you're going to know what to promote? Because a lot of you go into businesses, you find out that they may not be promoting what they should be promoting.
Correct.
They love the company so much, but they're not seeing what that would work. And does that make sense?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
So I think one thing that sets us apart is when we work with clients, they come aboard, we have a pretty extensive onboarding process, and this goes for coaching clients as well. I need to learn a lot about your business and your industry from the inside out to be able to talk about it. So I do have a background in organizational development, which I think
sounds super good.
Yeah, I mean, in my former life, I was in human resources.
Who wouldn't want that one, right?
But I think it's kind of worked for us because I have the ability to kind of ask the questions about any industry, any business, really dive deep. A lot of businesses already know a lot of things about their business, who their target audience is, what their biggest seller is, their product line. I just, I dive deeper. We get into, I'm almost like a fresh set of eyes. So I'm asking questions from a consumer's point of view, but then also with my marketing hat on. And we kind of talk and kind of determine together content areas that would, be good to different things to talk about. We basically develop a content calendar from that. But also one thing to keep in mind with social media is, experimenting is okay. Like there might be a piece of content that you're like, let's just see if this resonates with the audience. And you'd be surprised, like sometimes things that you think won't do and posts that you think are gonna go great don't. And I think the biggest key is just giving your audience and your followers like what they want. Like if certain types of posts are performing well, do more of those. So I really like to just try and dive deep with businesses and ask a ton of questions. And then they hopefully, I gain their trust so that they trust us to kind of run content on their behalf to represent their business. And there's some trust there. So, because they're trusting us to kind of represent their company online. It's nice to kind of, when we can have some of that creative flexibility too and post things that they might not like feel comfortable with, but then it really, like it moves.
Do we really want us to be, I guess, clunky? They want them to see us at the, that we're not perfect.
Yes, and that's the other thing. Here's a tip, a real good tip. If you're doing a video of yourself or getting video done of yourself and you're like in your fifth or sixth take, just stop, because it's never going to get better than your first couple usually. So I always say, and like imperfect is fine. I think people like to see genuine and authentic. Like if you flub a word and you're doing a video, like just keep going. No one really notices the things that you think they do too. So, yeah, I think we just approach social media marketing in a completely different way. Anyone can do posts. We really take it far deeper than that. Then we do it, and then we do it week in and week out forever, like you said.
All right, so let's talk about posts. Okay, where? I mean, what are the platforms? I'm kind of old school yet. I still I love the Facebook. It's because I know it so well. And then I have my business page. I love LinkedIn. And that's it. And I know I should be doing Instagram. I think that might go with my Facebook. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm connected to it right. I do have one. And then I have a YouTube channel and therefore, but there's people that swear by Pinterest.
Yeah.
I don't know what Spotify, I don't know what's new. What should I be worried about?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, most people that come to me, businesses, are obviously they're struggling with social media in some regard. I always like to tell people, like, let's get your Facebook and Instagram running really solidly and let's get data from those platforms to see what's working, and then add in other platforms. You never want to have a social media page or presence that has not been posted on for a long time. I just think if you're a lot of people have Facebook pages for their business, there's been no post on there for, months or years in some cases. I always say, just get rid of it, because people do research on businesses, and if they come across your page and there's been nothing there, or they're like, is it still in business? Is it open? I always say, like, let's start with a reasonable amount of platforms and really dial those in, and then add in others. But again, once you add in others, you have to stay consistent and be committed to posting content on them. So that's the trick. You can pick from a lot of different platforms. Facebook and Instagram 100% are an easy place to start. LinkedIn has been great, I think, for anybody. Even your personal brand, I think that's valuable. But that being said, I think YouTube is a great place as well, but I think, again, don't overwhelm yourself and think you have to do all of them. Do a couple really well, and then see if you can incorporate others and do those really well as well. So,
so what are companies, when they do sit down with you and start talking about branding and whatever, are you, if they haven't used their social media platform the way they can, I do the same thing. I looked up your social media, what you post, what are you interested in? Who is Mary? Because what I'm trying to build here, and I feel that I'm looking for, is building trust. Find something, and then I see your post and you're running for school board, which is very exciting.
I am.
Right, for the Grand West Public Schools. All right, and I thought, we talked about that on the phone, but I did see that in the postings, whatever. Being the owner of this company, what about your personal and your company? Because I will look up both.
Yeah.
To see what you're doing and what you like. If you're a Michigan State fan, I'm like, yay! You know what? That instantly,
Yes.
I resonate with that. And it's not like I'm a big, huge, but I want something I can have in common with Mary. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And I think like that's really what people want is just, who are you? Like, you own this business, but like, who are you as a person? And I think that's different than years past, like where you could own a business and like you own the business and the business has a great reputation. And I think now people kind of like want to know who you are as a person.
Right.
You know, what are you like? Like, what are your interests? What are you
like dogs.
What are you all about? Right. And so for me, my personal brand, if you will, and when people go search me out, I want them to immediately get a sense of like who I am, you know, and I want them to also feel like how they would just meeting me like this. Like, I want what you saw on my socials to like, now we're in person and you're like, oh yeah, like you're
Totally get
exactly
you.
who
I
you
know
are.
you.
Like
Yeah,
you're,
correct.
you know, and I think like that's something you can't measure, is like, it's almost like that know, like, and trust factor, right? Like, people know of you, they kind of start following you, they kind of like what they're seeing, you know, you're being, you know, you're sharing good tips, you're sharing stuff about yourself, you know, and again, business owner or not.
Right.
And then they're building that like, and then like, know, trust. Once you get people's trust and they really feel like, I know what you're about, I know that you provide a good service, other people say you provide a good service, all that working together just elevates your business, you know, it helps with just connections, your networking. And here's the other thing. I tell people, yes, you're going to hire us, we're going to take over, your socials are going to look amazing, they're going to be growing, all the data is going to look great, but what else are you doing to promote your business? Because there's your website, that has to also have certain things in place, right? You don't want to put any barriers up for your potential customers. So what's your website look like? Are you out in the community? Are you networking? Like, what else are you doing marketing wise that can work in with, like, the social media can complement all of that. Right. So, you know, I always tell people, like, social media is wonderful, but it's not going to solve all your problems. It's part of the bigger solution. And it takes time to, like, if you just consistently start posting today, and I've seen it where it takes at least 3 months, more likely 6 months, to just consistently cranking out.
What does consistency look like?
For me, what my belief is, it's quality over quantity. I think if you post 2, I think 3's better, but 2 to 3 really good thought out quality posts a week, one of which is a short video, so like a reel, you can move the dial and start, you know, building that trust with your audience, and people, you know, will start taking notice. So I'm all about quality. So I think that's where having a well thought out content calendar and like putting some thought into, like, ahead of, you know, so we're approaching October, putting some thought into, like, what do I need to talk about in October for my business? Okay, well, you know, we're going to do this promotion, or oh, I'm going to this conference, maybe I'll share about that. Okay, it's Halloween, are we going to post anything for that? And kind of just mapping it out a bit, giving yourself a guide. I think the biggest thing that's overwhelming to people is that they're like posting, like, when they have 5 minutes, like, there's really no bigger picture thought put into it.
Well, that's exactly.
And that stresses people out. And so if you can just map out a bit what you want to talk about for your business in the coming month, it'll at least give you some direction, and then follow through on that.
What is a social, you mentioned, and I've heard your, you know, interviews, you mentioned a social, you know, a calendar. Mm-hmm. Like, is that your work calendar, or is you create something? What is it that helps, like, somebody like me?
Sure.
It's like, you know, I would love that, right? You going, okay, I got everything, and I got the week done, and I'm like, whew.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
can understand that?
Yeah.
What does that look like? Is it like you guys create it? Is it out of your, what does that look like?
I mean, for our team, our content calendar, like, so we just had a team meeting today for all our clients, all their content calendars for October. This doesn't have to be complicated. We literally, I'm like giving away the secret, which really isn't a secret. I mean, we use a spreadsheet. I mean, we literally will map out week by week, the month of October, week by week, and we'll just put in the high level concepts. And, we'll put like real, reintroduction of this team member. We'll put in, post and whatever the topic is. So we put in the high level ideas and concepts, and then we just execute those. So it can be overwhelming if you're trying to figure out content calendar and the copy and the graphic and everything.
Right.
Just to give yourself a map, just do a high level, like a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, put in the dates by week, October 1 through 8, whatever, and just put in some concepts there. Like a great days to post are typically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are always pretty good days to
Are
post.
those downtime for people and then they were able to
No,
watch?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are actually good days to post. And that's the other good point you make is put a little thought into kind of when you post as well. Like I would say, there is kind of some like rules around time of day and when your audience is most active. I would say tracking data though, like we get data like that, like when an audience is most active for our clients. So we schedule those posts at that exact minute when we know most people their audience is active. So people can Google all that, like what are the best times a day to post, right, on different platforms. But I would just say back to this, content calendar wise, don't overcomplicate it. Like it doesn't need to be this fancy, huge thing. High level concepts, or just start brainstorming a bunch of ideas and then plug them on the days you want to run them and then hold yourself to that calendar and do it.
How serious should we think about, how many people see our content? How many people videos? People want that. People love it. They said something went viral. But I put stuff out too, and it's like, okay, I'm happy with some of the returns on putting that video out. But other people are like, I didn't get.
Yeah.
How much should we worry about that?
It depends on your industry. Like if you're selling and you have an e-commerce business that you sell nationally, and you're going to want more eyes on that to sell your product. So it depends. Most businesses, let's just say a local business, you don't need 1 million followers. You need dedicated, like passionate followers. So I like to always say, like, I'd rather have 100 followers that are like actively promoting my business or invested in my business than like 1,000 that like don't care. So views, like I like to tell people, think of views as in, like, let's say you get 30 views and you're like, 30 is so horrible, I can't believe it. I always would push back and say, if you stood in front of 30 people in a room and told them that message, would you think that would be beneficial to you? And 100% yes. Like 30 people is 30 people that are seeing what your business is about and like learning something about your business. So I don't worry about the numbers. The numbers and like the reach and the engagement will grow with consistency. Consistency really is your base of your whole social media plan. It should be consistency. The reason though it's also the hardest because it means you have to commit to doing it. So I would say consistency is the strongest thing to start doing, but then looking at the data of what people are actually enjoying to consuming and then give them more of that. Does that,
That makes sense. And I think when I'm posting out, like I said, I try to be consistent. I find it kind of interesting when I'm out and about networking, whatever. People will don't like my post, but they know about it. Like, I heard they know a lot of information, and I'm just like, do you find that other people, do you experience that? Like, oh yeah, I got that. Is that, so they are seeing it, but we're just not, they're not putting anything that they're not. Does that make sense?
100%. People are watching.
Yes.
And that's, again, social media is it's really hard because people will ask me, well, what's my return on investment? And it's really hard. Like, yes, I can give you all the reports that show all your analytics are heading in the right direction and growing.
Right.
But it's kind of like still hard to pin because there's people that just are watching day in and day out. And I've had people like, I had no idea we're watching. And they were like months later, they were like, hey, like, remember when you posted that thing? And I was like, yeah. And you just don't realize the number of people you actually are reaching. But also people need to keep in mind, it takes like 16, 20 touch points for someone to even think about taking action. So I think you've been there too. Like I've
Right,
been
exactly.
there where I see stuff, like I see something promoted. I'm like, okay. I mean, you have to see something so many times to really get people to go, okay, I'm ready to buy that now, or I'm ready to take action on that. And
I read the comments.
yeah,
I do, because a lot of people get me to see things I may not have saw, or they are adding to it. Does that make sense? And I will tell people the best thing you can do on LinkedIn, especially, share and comment on people's stuff. Share my stuff. I remember everybody the kind people that I will, and people will reach out to me when I share their stuff. They'll send me DMs, or they'll send me a text. Thank you for liking and always liking my stuff, Pamela, sharing my stuff or whatever. Because they understand it. It's a lot. It's not like it's a lot, but it means a lot to them that they put something out. It's kind of like you're handing out something, and I'm taking it.
Yeah, and again,
And they won't forget. That's how you build relationships.
100%. And if someone comments on your post, always respond back to it and say thanks, or thanks for your comment. Always, because that's just a little trick. Like it just helps your, to build that engagement
you
up.
wanna
So,
help,
and it's the right thing to do. Like respond to people that are commenting on your post. Like they took the time out to do that, and if you write back to them, I think that's a really nice thing to do. So I think it's just kind of taking some like good business practices and applying it to social media will really take you a long way. And people do feel that. I know it's corny, but people feel that, like if you're being like a genuine business owner,
you're gonna be.
and I think they can feel that through whatever your posts, and just to kind of be yourself. Like not everything has to be super serious. And here's one more quick tip.
Okay.
Any post, people like to see people. So anytime you can use a photo or of people versus a graphic, always go with the
They're like
photo.
dogs. They're like animals,
Well, yeah.
too.
If you want to get some if you want to get some quick engagement,
Children, little
dogs,
babies.
yeah.
I always click on those.
Yeah, if you're needing some, if you need to get something moving, yeah,
Have a mascot, get a pet, talk about your dog. I swear, if somebody holding a dog and a baby taking its first step, I am all in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. All right, anything else before we wrap this up, Mary, that I did not cover?
I mean, I guess I would just like to remind people that when you think of social media, your competitors in the traditional sense, so other businesses in your same industry, those aren't your competitors on social media. On social media, your competitors are cat videos, funny dog videos. People are consuming all sorts of content on there. So what's going to make them stop on your post? And that's really what the goal is you want it to be, you don't want to be selling to people all the time. They need something else. They need something more from you and your business. And I think if you look at it like that a little bit more, I think the content becomes easier to create.
Well, yes, I always click on those ones. The number one thing to protect your home. I'm all in that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To protect yourself in a dark parking lot. I even though, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
That's that's valuable information that is valuable to your life and adds value. So what are some things you can add value to people's lives to do with your industry? Like, everyone has tips and good advice. Whatever it is you're selling or your business is, there's something there that will help benefit people. And so, yes,
look for this in your insurance policy. Does that make sense?
Tips, insight tips. We do social media tips on our pages all the time, like regularly. We give away a lot of free value because I want to do that for people. I want people to come to our pages and be able to gain so much value. Like they're not even clients of ours, but like they feel like they can gain so much just by following the pages. Like, because that's just, I think, a good servant heart. It's just offering.
I read all your
people
testimonies.
value. Yeah.
I read all your testimonies. I read everybody's testimony on your page. I was reading them because I'm interested in seeing what other services you were offering to them, so I would know.
Yeah.
Some people don't always know what every company offers. So I think when you can upsell, or I didn't know you offered this. Does that make sense? I was clicking on that. All right, so how can they reach you? And you can take their social media, even go alongside them, set it all up so they can,
Yes.
the next 6 months.
Yes.
Right.
So you can reach us at www.thesocialgco.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Social Gco. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook, Mary Gunther. And we really look forward to meeting any of you that struggle with social media, because we are here to help and make you just feel so much better about it.
And that is why GRTV Media loves having people on my show that can share their services to help you thrive. because social media should be a marketing tool, but there's other ways you can put that content out there, and that's what I wanted you here for.
Yeah.
So I want to
Thank you
Mary Gunther
so
for being
much.
here today. This is Pamela Keim from GRTV Media. We will catch you next time. Take care, everyone.